why most coaches don't support integration and why it's costing you more than you realise. If you are the one people turn to when things fall apart, if you lead, guide, hold space, this is for you, the woman who holds. I want to talk about this because it's something that I feel deeply, deeply passionate about through the experience that I've had and the work that I've been doing in the past 5 years, but before that too, right? So something that I noticed, and that one of the patterns that I've been seeing, is that in this industry, in the healing coaching, the expansion, personal growth industry, there has been a considerable lack in the past about the level of integrity and authenticity around embodiment and integration after the session, the retreats, the workshops have happened. And I feel like it's a collective problem that has been happening over decades. That unfortunately our newer paradigm of leaders are feeling the exhaustion of. And it goes like this. You have had clients that probably have been supported enough, and you feel incredibly passionate about showing them the right way of transformation and facilitating and supporting, mentoring, guiding them through that. You have probably adapted the way that you've worked a few times to ensure that the integrity of the industry that you know and love so much is held and kept up. You notice there are peers of yours that over time you maybe want to dissociate with because of the lack of integrity that they are displaying. Probably not their own fault, probably part of the collective consciousness of this industry, demonstrating where they shouldn't be overgiving. And it falls into concerning territory. There is an element of responsibility here from the clients, from you, that is governed by discernment, right? It's governed by the discernment that you have over the work that you're doing, the way that you're holding it, the boundaries, the guidance systems that you use, the modalities that you use or that you have created. There has to be an element of clean and clear energy here. But before I go off on a tangent, what tends to happen is you've noticed that there has been in the past not enough attention that's been given to how transformation happens after people have been given the wonderful stuff. Because most of it, not all of it, I'm talking generally here, most of it will happen in the weeks after the coaching, the transformational package, the workshop, the retreat that has been run, has been given and delivered. Now, what that means is, as leaders, this is what I've been seeing. What that means is, as leaders and as people who are facilitating great change for people, is that there is a foundational piece that's missing. So that when you have delivered your incredible work, you have given your incredible embodiment and integration practices and delivered and created the most wonderful, sustainable methods, pathways for people and beyond, into the collective, into the legacy and the impact that you're here to have. It means that there is a foundational piece missing for you. Perhaps you have delivered wonderful experiences for people, and that includes everything that I've mentioned before: workshops, retreats, sessions, containers, masterminds, whatever it is, community work. And you have seen incredible changes happen in front of your eyes, people physically changing. And you have witnessed, you have held and guided people through that, through and beyond. What about you? Just going to say it plainly. What happens to the person who has delivered all of that? because that person has grown through, unless you've had a significant, incredible mentor, or maybe a few, that person that has grown through this experience over the last decade or few decades, where the integrity of some of the ways people have worked hasn't quite been upheld, that leaves your foundational steps untethered. And what I'm noticing is that it's creating frayed edges with the leaders that are facilitating, who do have integrity, it's creating frayed edges with their own personal capacity. What does that after moment feel like for you? Because what I've seen is that these incredible leaders who are doing significant work in the world for mankind, for humankind, is that they feel elated for a period of time, and there is some adrenaline that is laced into that. There are significant amounts of dopamine and serotonin that have been released in the way that you've worked. Yet, shortly after that is followed by a crash. It's followed by your own, you could say, ascension sickness if you wanted to, or flu. It's followed by a new wave of integration that you're experiencing from the work that you've just delivered. Because don't forget, when you're delivering these experiences, it's not just that you're holding at that time, right? You're also holding, dare I say it, families, personal, relational responsibilities. Perhaps you have your own human stuff going on, right? We have relatives that we have to care for. We have communities that we're supporting. Some of us are running more than one business. We also have responsibilities of running a home, of being present as a human being in our lives, as well as the legacy that we're leaving. There's a lot of responsibility that is piled on top of someone who is creating significant change. And that's important because you're human and you're still having a human experience. At the same time, we have to flow back into life, and we'll notice the symptoms and we will maybe bypass them as tiredness, or I need a little bit of rest from the retreat that I've just run. And yes, that is important. Where are you still holding space when that focus is over? Have you closed it down energetically, physically? Have you moved it to its next stage? Are your team on board with that? And it's less about the strategy. It's more about the integrity that's being missed because of the demands of everything else. It will feel like, I'm tired. Perhaps it feels a little frayed around the way that you're speaking to your nearest and dearest. Perhaps there are areas of your business that are falling or failing because the energetic and emotional weight that you're carrying from the experiences that you're holding are still overflowing. And it's less about it. The reason I'm talking about this is not because I think that people aren't doing things right. It's less about that. And, oh no, I'm not doing things in the right way. It's less about that. It's more about the acknowledgement of support. It's more about the acknowledgement of who do you have that is helping you through that. So this is what's usually happening underneath it all. What's going on? So there's usually some emotional and energetic hangovers that are still lingering from holding the amount that you're holding. When your integration isn't being supported, there is a huge injustice that you're giving yourself. And this goes back to my original point that I was talking about at the beginning, when it comes down to the right level of integration and embodiment for what you're holding. This isn't about adding another level of healing into what you're doing. This is about ensuring that you have the right people in the right places to support you with what you need supported with, right? This is about going back to the responsibility of having someone support you. When your integration isn't supported, it starts affecting the other parts of capacities, the other parts of the jigsaw puzzle that you're holding, the other areas where you have containers of energetics and space that you're holding for other people, for yourself, for the work, for your business, for your community, for your family. When one area isn't supported fully, we start spilling over into other areas, and that's where overwhelm starts to affect everything. And when that starts to creep in and we're layering on top of that, we start missing the foundational piece of what was the original root cause of where the support wasn't there in the first place and where it started overspilling. So when that's contained and when that is supported, everything else starts thriving, because it's not necessarily compartmentalizing, but we are intentionally keeping the energy clean in every area. That means that you are able to keep open and keep extra space available for each area. If you think about it like a jigsaw puzzle, you're able to keep space. We're talking about a larger capacity here. And that necessarily isn't something that you need to do completely on your own. In fact, I would implore people to ensure that they have someone in their team that is supporting them through that. This is something that I do. This is the nourisher of leaders. This is the work that I've been refining over the last 5 to 8 years. The integration isn't what you thought, right? It's this part. It comes back down to the integration not just being for the client and for the recipients of the magic that you're creating. It comes down to understanding that we are in a balanced universe here, and there is an integration part for you as well. It's why the in-between work that you would give your clients in between their transformations, it's why your in-betweens are so important. When we're looking at people who are working at a high capacity level, people that have lots of businesses and people that are well experienced, well versed in leadership, I'm going to break this down into very easy, manageable parts here. They will have somebody who looks after their nutrition, whether it's someone who cooks for them or someone who is able to create healthy meals, planned recipes. They would have invested in systems that support them nutritionally, support their physical body, to be able to maintain the energy, the vitality, the level of focus. They will have personal trainers to help them physically with their actual fitness for the same reason. They will have therapists that they see to help them emotionally work through and hold themselves, as well as the communities that they are helping as well. They will also probably have teams in place that help them strategize and keep the business running in areas, and those people will be well paid to run those efficiently, where they are maximizing on the potential, the reach, if they're heart-led, not everybody else, if they are heart-led, that they are reaching the people, that as many people as they can, as well as being able to do their promised work with the souls that they're contracted to do, right? There's one thing that's missing, which is the energetic and the spiritual body. We've talked about the emotional, the therapeutic, the cognitive, the mental level, the physical. There's one part that's missing, which is that spiritual body. We're missing that expert that is nourishing and holding and taking care of that area as well. It's something that is probably one of the most important because it's the future focused one, right? It's the one that's on the leading edge of here and in the multidimensional. Can you imagine what changes when that's supported? Can you imagine how much more resourced you be when those areas are well looked after, are well tended to, as well as the ones that we have been made aware of and do take steps to maintain that. I did a video about this morning. Unfortunately, there is a collective of us that don't recognize just how much nourishment we've needed until it's actually happened. And it's a sad thing. There are many people that don't feel that way and have transcended through that and know the importance of self before anything else. But there are still so many that won't or can't create that channel of nourishment. When you're properly supported in holding space yourself for your own transformation and how you're moving through that, it doesn't just show up in the capacity areas of the other parts of life that you're holding. It shows up in the refinement in the way that you're holding space for others as well. It will support the understanding, the peace, the joy, and the presence that you came here to experience, and that at some level you're craving, because yet again, at the end of each experience that happens, yes, of course, there is always going to be a physical aspect of being tired after holding something quite important and that has consumed energy from you. But I can guarantee that there is only a small percentage or a few practitioners, space holders and leaders that are preparing in the right way for those events. Those subtle signs that keep showing up, the annoyance, the short-temperedness, the snapping that we have at other people, the quiet dread that doesn't ever fully get understood because you know how much you love your work, you know how much you crave to do and transform, you know how much you love creating, yet when it comes down to actually delivering or coming out the other side of a big event or a big experience, there's this unnamed feeling of dread that is lingering. That's integration, and that's support that hasn't been met and hasn't been held or nourished in the right way. It really comes down to understanding and leaning into the foundations of foundations. When we have got the right structure and the right balance before the event or before something's happened itself, whether it's a container, an event, a retreat, a practice, a workshop, could even be your own healing. There comes a point where there is a run up and a run down to that event, energetically, cognitively, emotionally, physically, tangibly, strategically. There is a run up and a run down. And when the foundations are at the sweet spot or there or thereabout, we don't live in a completely perfect world. When they are around the right space, there is enjoyment and balance and peace through all areas. We don't get that dread or that hangover on the other side. It's completely balanced and it's uplifted with joy, and the purpose and the integrity and the impact has a level up experience to it because of the foundations that have been put in place of support and nourishment of the person who's delivering it. And like I said, this comes back round to the wonky start that this industry has had, when or that at some points it's still experiencing it, where unfortunately people haven't been given, haven't been taught, haven't been given, and haven't been brave enough to offer the right level of nourishment and support before and after the work that we're doing. It's not about doing more. It's about being honest and true to what you're delivering, how that works, and where that ends, and if it's enough for the people that are receiving it. The most common, after speaking to people about this, the most common thread of this conversation is, yeah, but that's just part of it. And yes, it's true. Like I said, we do have areas of physical adjustment that need tending to. That is tiredness. But we don't get the energetic dreads over something that we love. We've been taught to do this alone. Feel resonant to you? There is a space where we are expected at this level, if you're leading others, that we lead ourselves. That does not mean doing it all yourself. It means finding your people to support you in the areas that you need support in, so that you can do your soul-led purpose thing that you love without resistance, so that you have a cleaner channel, so that you can affect these people in an elevated and less chaotic energy. It ensures the longevity of the impact that you're here to have, if it's treated as importantly as all those other areas that I've mentioned before. It becomes part beyond the conversation of, are you looking after yourself? Because there's more to it than that. And there's more to it when there is more impact. And it doesn't have to be something that is overly or more heavily or kept in victim mentality. It's not about that. Oh, I need healing, I need it more. It's not about that. It's about the discernment that you have over how you are demonstrating this for yourself and for the people that are coming beyond you. Essentially, it comes down to the legacy that you're leaving and how cleanly you are supporting yourself. So, what would your life look like if you were well-resourced? What would your business look like if you were well-resourced? What would your relationships, family, love, community, what would the relationship look like to the earth when you're well-resourced? It changes everything. It changes the energetic that underlies everything because of the foundations. If the foundations are long and sturdy and set up right, it allows you to grow beyond what you can comprehend, because everything is looked after, is nourished. This is quite a big conversation around the foundations of our industry and what they look like and what they mean for you going forward in truth and out of integrity. This is a conversation that requires discernment. This is something that is reflective practice and is calling you to a deeper level of the truth that you're here to give and that you live by, and how you demonstrate that to yourself first. So this conversation will never be over. It will always evolve into a deeper level of truth for the person who listens to it, or who is contemplating that in their practice and in their business. This is something that I support. This is something that I'm passionate about. It's something that I've witnessed. It's something that I have noticed over the last 5 years that has been quietly and almost invisibly pulling at the hearts of the people who are holding legacy and leadership, and how it supports them long term. So I implore you to ensure that you have the support in place that is completely for you. And it can look different for different people. It can look like sessions, coachings, healings for some. It can look like walks, baths, singing for others. It can be the conversations and the community around a person that will encourage nourishment and presence and space. But it is something that cannot be looked over, because ultimately the sustainability and the longevity of the legacy that you're creating is not supported. It will end up in resistance, it will end up in resentment, and that comes down to someone being open to the possibility of nurturing something the way that they would nurture their body. It's just, it hasn't been talked about with enough depth. This is why most coaches aren't supporting integration and embodiment, and why it's costing you more than you possibly could realise. If you've been here and you've been listening, thank you. And I will catch you on the next one for the woman who holds it all.